We are officially 2 weeks away from the world premiere of the up-and-coming Michael Jackson biopic titled Michael, starring none other than Jafar Jackson, who just so happens to be Michael Jackson's nephew. Welcome back to the Voiceovers Podcast. I'm 24K Logan. Now, in today's episode, I want to give a little bit of an opinion on the upcoming biopic. Now, we have been waiting for this for a long time. Of course, Michael Jackson tragically passed away in 2009 at the age of 50 from a cardiac arrest. And I believe that not just myself, but a lot of music fans have always wondered, when would we get a Michael Jackson biopic? Well, we are officially 2 weeks away, as I stated at the beginning of the video, and I just want to talk about some things that we can expect. Now, the Michael biopic, of course, is going to start off at the beginning of Michael's life as a child, going through his days being with the Jackson 5, and eventually embarking on his own solo career. And if I'm not mistaken, the film will actually end during the bad tour, the bad era, if you will. Now, it has not been confirmed if there will be a part 2. There's been a lot of things surfacing online saying that Lionsgate and Universal is actually considering doing a part 2. And if they do a part 2, if part 1 is going to end at the bad era or during the bad tour, then naturally what's next to come is the dangerous era, the history tour, and the things that occurred during the 1990s decade for Michael Jackson. I don't know if they'll take the film all the way up until he passed away. That's yet to be seen. But we all are excited. As a lifelong Michael Jackson fan, I am heavily anticipating this biopic. Now, I've went on record to say that this will be the highest grossing biopic of all time, not just for music, but for film in general. And I'm going to say it again. I believe that the Michael biopic will be the highest grossing biopic of all time, of all biopics, not just music. I say this because let's just think about it. Michael Jackson is arguably the most famous person to ever live, probably next to Jesus Christ, right? Quite literally. I think there have been studies that have showed Michael Jackson is the most famous person to exist since Jesus Christ. Everybody from every generation should know who Michael Jackson is, unless you were just born like 5 years ago. And this is somebody who stayed relevant in music for almost 5 decades. We're talking from the late 60s up until he died in 2009. Michael was always relevant in the world of music, especially for pop. I mean, he quite literally is referred to as the king of pop, even to this very day. That's one reason why all of us are excited. And I think that is one thing that we can expect from this film, is for Antoine Fuqua, who is the director, to go into deep detail and go in depth in terms of the personality and the psyche of Michael, his upbringing, what made him get to be who we know him as today, aka the king of pop. And a lot of people would argue that Michael Jackson is the greatest artist of all time. Now, some of you might not feel that that's definitive, and that's okay. But if somebody was to say that Michael Jackson is the greatest entertainer to ever live, that is not a bizarre statement. I mean, you look at all the records that he has broken. You look at his influence of everybody that has came after him, especially pop and R&B artists. You look at how he changed the landscape for music videos, not just for black creatives, but for music videos in general. And that goes all the way back to the Thriller video, right? Of course, that was almost like the world's, well, not the world's first short film, but that was considered a short film at the time. And even now, it can definitely be considered a short film, considering that the duration is over 10 minutes. There was never a music video to that magnitude. Michael Jackson changed that. And no music video in terms of influence and viewership and what is done for the culture, I don't think no music video in history has done what Thriller has done since it first premiered for the world to see back in the year 1983. Moving forward, something else that we can expect, speaking of music videos, we can expect a reincarnation of all of Michael Jackson's most iconic videos. We've seen it in the trailers, from Beat It to Thriller to Off the Wall. I'm sure that we can see a reincarnation of all of his most popular music videos. Now, the one that I am looking forward to the most, and I'm sure the rest of you are looking forward to the most, just so happens to be the Thriller video that we were just talking about. Now, if you watch the trailer, and if you compare and contrast that to the actual Thriller music video in the 1980s, Jafar, the makeup that he has on, the costume, the dance moves, how he has the choreography down pat, even the fact that they went back to where the video was actually filmed at, on that long street in Los Angeles. Things like that, it is a spitting image of the 1980s music video. That's just one thing that I noticed. Of course, also, if you watch the trailer of the Michael biopic, you'll also see some footage of him filming Off the Wall. You'll also see footage of him filming the Beat It video. Now, I'm sure that there are more music videos that they'll show us, such as Rock With You, Billie Jean, Smooth Criminal, which is another one of my favorites, Black or White, They Don't Care About Us. However, They Don't Care About Us and Black or White is the 90s, so that would be something that they would do for a part 2, if that is indeed something that they're going to do. But that is a second thing that you can expect. A third thing that you can expect, the controversy. Now, here's the thing with the Michael Jackson biopic, and this leads me to my last point of something that I'm a bit skeptical on. Michael Jackson, right? As famous as he was, as powerful as he was in the music industry, his influence, his impact, his longevity, how long he had actually been around the music industry. I mean, literally since he was a child, right? He's seen and done it all. With someone that popular and that experienced, you can only expect there to be some type of controversy surrounding an artist like Michael Jackson, right? And I'm not here to get deep into the allegations. You know, whether you believe the allegations or not, I'm not here to dispute that. I'm not here to get into that. But what I will say, if you look at Michael Jackson, where he was in the 1990s at the time that the allegations really started to pop off, if you take into consideration the fact that he owned at least half of Sony ATV's catalog, meaning that he owned the catalogs of artists such as Elvis Presley, the Beatles, Babyface Edmonds, the list goes on. I mean, he literally got a check every time Eminem, Beyonce, and Jay-Z had a hit. That goes to show how much power he had just in terms of ownership and influence and just what he had done in the industry. And not to make this super political, but with an artist like Michael Jackson, I feel that, especially with him no longer being here to tell his side of the story, you have to be a bit raw and gritty with a film like this. And I want to see the director, Antoine Fuqua, go into detail and show us just how powerful Michael was in the music industry and how much of a threat that he was to the music industry. Now, what I'm saying is nothing new. I'm sure a lot of you watching this video know exactly where I'm getting at and what I'm referring to. There is a lot of speculation and a lot of reason to believe that Michael Jackson was a threat to the music industry. He had too much power, and I think we all know how the story ends. Now, I'm not going to get too much into that, but I would love for the film to show some type of glimpse of that. Although the film is going to stop in the bad era, even though he became a megastar by that time period, there, in terms of ownership and whatnot, I think he reached his peak with that in the 90s, the early to mid 90s. And they might not be able to go too much in depth with that. But that is something that I would love to see in the film. Just a glimpse at how powerful he was in the music industry and why it's so talked about to this very day. Now, Jafar Jackson obviously is the nephew of Michael Jackson. And I don't think they could have went with a better choice for this film. As a matter of fact, when they first announced that they were doing a Michael Jackson biopic, I'm like, who the hell are you going to get to play Michael? And it just so happens that he had a nephew who was very capable of pulling it off. A nephew that looked like him, a nephew that has singing and dancing ability. But what is crazy is that he has never acted before. Like, that is something that is very shocking to me, that Jafar Jackson has never acted before. This is his first acting role. Now, some people will say that he only got the role because of him being a blood relative, quite literally Michael Jackson's nephew, Jermaine Jackson's son, who of course is Michael's older brother, one of his older brothers. However, Jafar has stated this in numerous interviews. Antoine Fuqua has talked about it. He went through a extremely gruesome process to get this role. A lot of rehearsals. As a matter of fact, I believe it was for almost 2 years before they had started production of Michael. Jafar was training. He was getting in shape. He was watching the choreography over and over and over again, practice it until he felt that he had it down pat, or until Antoine Fuqua and the rest of the crew and team felt that he had it down pat. That was about a year to 2 years worth of preparation just on itself before they actually got into filming everything else that's in the film. So he definitely earned this role, and I look forward to seeing what he does. And that's how I wanted to end the video off. I wanted everybody to comment down below, what do you think about Jafar Jackson playing the role of his uncle Michael Jackson, of course, and what do you anticipate from this film? What are things that you want to see in this film? And I ask that because I feel that with somebody like Michael Jackson, who is shy and as private as a person that Michael was, he was always in the public's eye. Like, it was inevitable for him to always be exposed to some degree. Like, it was hard for him to live a super private life the way that he wanted. And I feel that there's a lot about him that we already know, at least in terms of the entertainment side. Everything that we saw, we know, obviously. Is there anything that will be displayed in the biopic that a lot of us just simply would have never guessed about Michael? And I want you guys to comment down below if you think there's anything new that we're going to learn about him. But that'll do it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We have plenty of content on the way. I will be doing more content on the Michael biopic. I'll definitely do a full-on review when the movie drops, giving my complete opinion and intake on the film and what I think about it. But until next time, peace and love to everybody.